or know a little bit about what we are and what we do. I know you guys have been speaking to Barclays as well. We've been running through some of the basics of sort of your finances and what to do. So first of all, my name is Will Myers. That's my business partner, Drew Mitchell over there. And we set up Cadence Wealth, which is a financial advisory company that we specialise in sport. So we look after a lot of football clubs, right up from Premiership clubs down to semi-professional teams. I was at Hemel Hempstead on Saturday as well, which was interesting. And across not just football, we look after cricket players, rugby players as well. And really, what the focus of the business is to say there's a lot of advice out there for you guys as burgeoning footballers, and depending on however your career develops, there's a load of pitfalls and things that have historically happened, and you guys, I'm sure, will be aware. The press, there's lots of information about financial advisors or financial advising being a bit hit and miss in the professional world. And what we've tried to do is actually say it shouldn't be that complicated, and we try and make sure that everything we set up for our clients is sort of well thought out, you guys understand it, and ultimately you're planning for whatever happens in your career. So I'd say one of the big points about that we work with as well is to say, okay, you guys are like under 23s now. Realistically, you've got probably 10, 12 years of a career, and at that stage you guys are still reasonably young men, but your career will take a very different path. So at that stage, first of all, from a financial perspective, we will look at how to save for that, how to know that that's the position when you might need more money. But secondly, actually, we work with a lot of media individuals, media companies, and lots into coaching, refereeing, into business as well. So what we try and do is, as you're getting towards the end of your career, obviously we've set up everything hopefully for you in the interim. We get to that stage and say, okay, well, actually, I want to be a coach, or I want to go and work on TV, or whatever it is, and we can help at that stage to make sure that you're making the most out of every stage of your career. So that's a little bit about us as an overview. I'll talk about some of the different ways to save, but don't worry, I won't talk too long about it. But just to cover off, a lot of the basic stuff that you guys should be thinking about now. It's not rocket science, and we're not talking about massive amounts of money, but by saving early and being sensible with what you have, it's amazing how much money that can translate to with really not much risk. It's just about making sure you are doing the most that you can do at this stage as well. And it's really, really important at your age. Again, you've heard stories, I'm sure you've got friends at other academies and bits and pieces that we were at Man City not long ago, and someone's mum was complaining they were spending 60 grand a week on nothing, basically. So we're not talking about even those astronomical figures, we're just talking about bits and pieces saving regularly as you go. Yeah, I mean, that was my face as well. So, as I mentioned, we've run through on the agenda who are Cadence Wealth, done a little bit of that, and we'll talk about some of the services that we offer. Again, if you guys want to stop and you've got any questions, I'll run over some of those quite quickly. They might sound really alien, again, or they might also sound really familiar, but do stop me and let me know if there's anything you want further clarification on. We'll then run over how we can specifically help you and the process that we go through for that. And then broadly, just at some of the stuff we look at, savings and pensions is a really simple one. Critical illness and injury cover, it's not very glamorous, but you guys are athletes, physically that's how you make your career, how you make your money. So protecting that is even more important for you guys than it is for myself. I don't need to be running about fit and healthy, and I can sit in a desk. And then finally, again, just touch a little bit on that, what we do post-football and retirement, and then next steps as and when you want to get in touch with us. So, done that one, that's our lovely logo. So, some of the guys we have as ambassadors for the company, Peter Reid's obviously at Wigan at the moment, Andy Graham at Keys, but they're still very well connected to a lot of the media broadcasting and other individuals there. So that's quite a lot of the routes that we go through. Cricketers, you may or may not have heard of them. Two of them for Middlesex, one for Durham and two for Yorkshire. It's really interesting speaking to these guys. They're a similar sort of age group to yourselves. Obviously there's a big disparity in earnings between cricket and football, but they're really ambitious and they work a lot. They come on, they do quite a lot of presentations and things with us. They're really keen to get involved in the financial worlds as well, which is some of the stuff that we can develop for you guys as well if it's of interest. Okay, so what we specialise in, now this is a pretty busy looking page, there might be a few phrases that you've heard of before. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard of even ISAs or anything like that. That rings a bell to you guys. Really, really basic way of saving money, but really efficient. There's a limit to how much you can put in each year, but actually you build that up and you save. It's normally the first place that we look. Things like pensions, okay, it seems like it's such a long way away, but putting money into a pension or the tax relief, by the time you get to your second retirement age as it is, there's also specific for border pensions, but that's a slightly different thing. It's incredible how much money that can build up, and I will show you. Again, when you talk about, obviously we're sort of experts in investing money, making sure that it's all working in different areas for you. So, we can invest anywhere around the world, America, China, all these different markets that behave in different ways. So, gone are the days where you look to just save in the UK. There's a few others in there that become more relevant when you've got income tax bills, very high income tax bills or capital gains tax bills. And what we can do at that stage is about mitigating tax and making sure that all your money is working as hard as it possibly can do for you across the board. So how we can help you as a club. So first of all, and I would encourage you guys as well, we've got some data capture forms there. If you guys want to take a moment, if you want to have a chat, just put your details in, we can contact you, you can contact us. There's our business cards scattered around as well. Any questions we can cover that off, but what we do with every single individual is we sit down and we just run through your aspirations, what you're trying to achieve, where you are at the moment, and really where you think your career is going to go. And what we then do is take some time to tailor something for you as an individual. There's a lot of you in the room, you all might have different ideas about where things go in different situations. So it's important to sort of blanket just this is generally what we do for you guys. It's about understanding your position and what you want to achieve going forward. So once we have got that and got that all in place, we'll then sit down and create and construct a plan. And again, happy to work through, if you wanted to run things through Ralph or another liaison officer or agents or parents, all of these things, everything we do, we're so happy with that as well. So we will create something for you and then make sure it's working for you. As well as that, it's about the ongoing servicing. So it's not just setting something up and then disappearing. We'll then sit down every 3 months or so and just make sure, if anything's changed, how we can help and develop like that. From a club perspective, maybe less relevant for you guys, more to Ralph and these guys, but we do look at how to protect you guys as a group, pensions for the club as a group as well. So we've got that element to help as well. So onto the sort of the savings thing, and I mentioned as well, it's like remarkable how much just saving a little bit of money can work. So this is all based on being 25 years old and retiring at 65. And just saving £250 a month into an ISA. So again, you might have heard of an ISA. You can invest that into stocks and shares all around the world. At just 7% rate of interest, which across the board we achieve just north of 11% as a company. So we're just talking about 7%. You'd have put away 120 grand, and by the time you get to your retirement age, it's worth 660. That's not magic formula. That's not trying to be ridiculously clever, investing into really, really difficult things. It's just saving £250 a month and just returning at 7% over that time. It's amazing how much that pot can build up just by being sensible, like I mentioned at the beginning. Pensions, so pensions are slightly less relevant perhaps for you guys, but again, they're a really, really tax efficient tool. If you put the same £250 a month, you get tax relief, so £417 would actually go into your account, which would leave, when you got to retirement age, you'd have 1.86 million in total between your ISA and your pension, just on that build up, just by saving a total of £500 a month. Again, it's 7%. So, we're talking about, it's 40 years time, it's long term, but, for £240,000 invested, getting to 1.8 million is it's a pretty significant change. And all that is sensibly saving and starting early, which you guys are fortunate to be in a position to be able to do. I mentioned the more boring element. People like thinking about making money and all the rest of it. Critical illness cover is really important. So this is if something happens to you, more serious cancer, heart attack, stroke is a lot of it. The reality is that happens to a lot of sportsmen. It's being publicised more and more. For you guys, this is based on a 25-year-old going to 60 years old. just by saving £35 a month, you'd have £150,000 of cover, or higher end, £73.50 a month, you'd have £350,000. That means if something goes wrong, that's an immediate lump sum payout into your account. It's worth talking about this. I know there's a few things that's happened in football, but there's been a couple in cricket as well. So a guy, 23-year-old, plays at Worcestershire. He didn't have this protection. We worked with a few guys, we hadn't met at that stage. Had testicular cancer, was out of the game for 2 years. He's back playing now, but in that really struggled in that 2-year period. And the reality is, it does happen. Just by having a little bit of cover, it gives the flexibility, and you are protecting yourself against something awful happening. Same as well, car crashes, injuries, that sort of thing. It's really an important part of what we do. It's not nice to talk about, but it's really something you should consider as young men at the beginning of your careers. So I mentioned, post-football, when you do get to that stage, everyone will have an idea of what they want to achieve now. And I know it seems like a long way away. You're at the beginning of your football careers, but actually it is worth just even having a think about sort of industries that interest you and what you want to do. And as I mentioned, these are a few of the companies that we work with. They're all, they're pretty varied. Obviously, you'll recognise that the top few. Play On is Viv Anderson's company. I don't know if you've seen that they offer sort of footballing careers for people that have just retired. Same as Barn Door, they do lots of celebrity postings. So if you finish your career and you want to get into after dinner speaking, or even into celebrity jungle, whatever that thing's called, they do that sort of thing. And then again, we've got some of the bigger names in finance or in property. That there's quite a big push for these guys to have footballers or sportsmen that represent the company at different events, like ambassadors for the company as well. So again, there's almost no, in terms of finances, there's almost no area that we can't touch. And similarly, when you get to retirement age, we are pretty confident that wherever you want to go, whatever route, we've got contacts, or we can get some sort of semblance of a meeting or production for you at that stage as well. I told you it'd be quick. So next steps of what to do from here. As I mentioned, we've got the data capture forms, and business cards. And if you just want to, if you wanted to give me your email addresses or anything like that, we can make contact. All we do then is perhaps I'd liaise with Ralph and have a day where we came up here and we just sat, myself and Drew, in a room like this, maybe for the day or a few hours. If you wanted to pop in and just ask a couple of questions, we'd be happy to do that. If you wanted to sit down and run through a full sort of review of your situation, it'll only take about half an hour, something like that, just to understand, and we can start to put stuff in place for you as well. So yeah, that's it from me. I know it's very, very sort of a broad overview. I haven't spoken about sort of the underlying investments. That's probably the next stage of how we invest it. Our philosophy is always to be on the safe side. Even with those figures, 7%, we're pretty happy with that across our clients. But the most important thing, as I keep stressing, is just getting something started and allowing that to snowball. So, does anyone have any questions at all? Good, covered finance, that emphatically, yeah, perfect.